guys working on lately, man?
So we're doing a series of events all around the world. It's really the only conference series focused on social media for social good. So we'll do a dozen conferences in 3 different countries this year, reaching 5,000 nonprofit leaders.
What are the countries out of curiosity?
Well, it's all around the U.S. We're doing 10 events here, and then we're doing Toronto and New Delhi this year.
Wow.
And in the U.S., we'll do L.A., Silicon Valley, San Francisco, Seattle, Chicago, New York, Boston, D.C., and Austin.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So out of curiosity, so this whole social media for nonprofit, what are some of the new trends that you've seen that you're really interested in?
I mean, I think probably the most exciting opportunity, there's a couple things happening. I mean, one is from a fundraising standpoint, you know, we always like to say in nonprofit fundraising that a peer ask is the most powerful form of ask. Like, I invite you to join me in supporting the work of this organization. And so just the whole point of social media being the most powerful peer-to-peer based medium ever opens up a lot of opportunities, in particular on the fundraising side, where basically you can turn your donors into fundraisers as simply as when they do make a donation online, letting them, you know, click to tweet or share via Facebook and pre-populating a message like, I invite you to join me in supporting the work of this organization. And we're seeing 20 to 200% jumps in fundraising as a result.
Wow,
and I think also with the election around the corner, you're gonna see, I mean, every time there's a big election, you see a lot of new technology around advocacy and around community engagement. So we're really excited to see what comes out of that.
What are some of the different fundraising ones that you think are really innovative or actually deeply different than some of the more traditional fundraising platforms?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of great organizations making wonderful use of social media. So Charity Water is a really clear example where not only have they done a great job socializing the giving experience and using technology to raise funds, but they've also used the technology to sort of map those donations to impact. So when you give, you can see exactly, you know, photos and videos of the well that they're building in Ghana as a result of your contribution, and then the video of the water spurting up and the villagers rejoicing. And so they do a really good job. Donors Choose, Kiva, those guys are doing amazing work. Obviously with the whole Coney 12 project recently with Invisible Children, that was the fastest YouTube video in history to reach 100 million viewers, and really raised awareness of an issue that even, you know, Peace Corps volunteers that were working in the country weren't aware of before. So there's a lot of really exciting things happening.
So speaking of technology, what are some of the new ones? I mean, nobody sees more of these than you. What are some of the ones that you've seen recently that kind of blew your mind that you thought were really interesting?
You know, there's so many different technologies out there. I think that some of the simplest ones, I mean, obviously Pinterest has taken off, and Storify and Tumblr and things like that. Personally, I'm more excited to see the tools that are helping nonprofits make better use of existing social media networks like Twitter and Facebook and LinkedIn. So like Hootsuite, you know, is something a lot of people are already familiar with. But just the notion of being able to schedule out your tweets for the week or even the month and allow you to concentrate your staff time instead of having to jump on Twitter 5 times a day or whatever the case may be. And combining that with analytics is really exciting. There's tools that have been out there for a while that folks aren't aware of, like Google has a whole suite of products for nonprofits. If you go to google.com/nonprofits, they just launched a whole nonprofit resource center where they've got tutorials and things like that, but you can sign up for a Google grant and get $10,000 a month of free Google AdWords if you're a nonprofit organization.
Wow.
And that's something a lot of nonprofits don't know about. It's been out there for a while, but if you think about the fact that you could get a free $120,000 advertising budget, and you juxtapose that with the fact that 75% of the nonprofits in this country have budgets underneath $75,000, you're basically doubling the size of your organization with one application.
What are some of the tools that that Google is offering to nonprofits?
They have a whole suite of different tools. So Google Grants, I just mentioned. Google Checkout is kind of like donation processing, which they waive the fees for nonprofits. Google Analytics is a really powerful tool to allow you to look at your website traffic and where people are coming from, where they're going, how long they're hanging out, where you're losing them, things like that. And I think that really speaks to the whole importance of data in the wonderful world of technology as it relates to nonprofits. It's, you know, you have this amazing direct and immediate access to data that is turned into knowledge for you. And so how do you turn that into decision making? And so, for example, my friends at Network for Good wrote the online fundraising chapter in my book, Nonprofit Management 101, and they did a simple experiment where they just turned their donate button from gray to red. and got an immediate 30% increase in online donations.
That's crazy.
And so to be able to just make those kinds of minor changes in terms of, even carving out 5% of your mailing list before you send out your annual appeal email, and splitting that 5% into 5 different groups, and trying out different email messages with different subject lines, because that's half the battle of getting to open the message, but then different images or videos or text and copy, and seeing what actually works before you blast your whole list. And instead of, the way George Weiner from Do Something likes to put it, is that it's data versus gut. So basically, instead of just using your gut and making a hunch of what's going to pull, try it out, see what actually works. And once you have a sense of what does, and maybe it's mixing and matching this subject line with this photo and this copy, that's what you're sending out to the broader list to maximize results.
It's awesome. That was great, man. Hey, thanks so much
Yeah,
for taking the time.
my pleasure.
Darren.
Thank you.